There is probably no sadder instance than the funeral of a loved one. Farewell ceremonies to a person who created strong ties with us during life. Many emotions and feelings are present in these moments. Perhaps that is why during these types of ceremonies, it is believed that impossible manifestations may come true. For a long time, all this was part of a popular belief, a myth that had no additional support. Even horror movies used instances like these to recreate chilling scenes. However, around the world, devices have recorded quite disturbing moments during these ceremonies, episodes that will make you believe that there is some truth in all of this fantasy. My name is Leonore Clay, and this is The Darkest Secret. Today we present the most scariest things that have happened during funerals. Number 5. We begin this footage with disturbing footage that you may have already seen before because it became somewhat popular a while ago. One of our subscribers, a frequent internet user, tells us that while surfing the internet, she came across the footage of a funeral that occurred some time ago in Indonesia. In the image, you can see a few of the relatives and a priest reading the last words before proceeding to the burial. A moment when the camera zooms in and accidentally, it captures something strange. Watch the video for yourself to see if you realize what happened here.
Dalam kitab Yohanes, akulah kebangkitan dan hidup. Barang siapa percaya kepadaku, ia akan hidup walaupun ia sudah mati. Dan setiap orang kitab Yohanes, akulah
The scene is truly chilling, and you can clearly see that the body inside the coffin seems to move a hand, or at least some part of the body, as if saying a last goodbye just before being buried. Do you know what the creepiest thing of all is? Just at that moment, the words that the priest pronounced, God has said in the book of John, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even though he is dead. Could there be a connection between the priest's words and with what was captured on camera? Tell me what you think. Number 4. The following clip was recorded after a funeral. Ara is the name of the woman who gathered up the courage to send me this clip, stating that she fervently believes that it is the spirit of her late son. You see, the day before this footage, along with relatives and acquaintances, Ara buried her son, who died due to a devastating illness. The place was flooded with sadness. Her son was gone forever. After this moment, she would only get to visit him at his grave. And it was due to that grief that she took one of the white balloons that adorned his funeral as a souvenir. She knew how much her son liked balloons. He always brought one back from birthday parties. To honor that gesture, she brought back one of the helium balloons from the ceremony. The next morning, the balloon began to move towards the parents. For no apparent reason, they thought it was the wind, so they closed the windows, left the balloon on the second floor, and went downstairs. But the balloon still followed them. It followed them everywhere. Being surprised at that moment, they began to record.
Ahí viene, ¿no? Como que te vas fallando. Viene para acá, doña.
Segura que lo tenía amarrado. Lo tenía ahí para que no se le moviera ahí entre el trofeo. Porque de todos modos, o sea, ponle, se hubiera bajado. Pero que vino a hacer hasta acá y luego se regresa. Sí. Deja de eso, ahorita que se regresó, bajó, metió y subió.
Creo que va contigo. ¿O va con usted, doña?
No. No manches.
Bueno, al parecer viene contigo.
An intriguing video that, without knowing why, brought comfort to this woman, since she is convinced that the clip corresponds to the farewell of her son. A final manifestation of his presence in this material world. A way of saying that he was fine and at peace, that although he was not in this world, his existence continues. Without a doubt, a recording that leaves many things to think about. Number 3. A clip that I will show you below arose from one of the most shocking cases that an entire country recently mourned. On February 17th of this year, 2021, the disappearance of Thomas, a boy who lived in Lebu, a town located in southern Chile, was reported. The intense search lasted for 9 days, in which the hope of finding him alive were the wishes of an entire population, who were following the details of the search with anticipation. Unfortunately, the outcome would be different. Thomas's lifeless body was found in a secluded place. The whole country followed his case. An entire country viewed his funeral on television. Despite the pandemic, the funeral was massive. Many left their homes to say their last goodbyes to the child. It was in this context that one of the television cameras that covered the route of the carriage captured this strange image. Many assure that the image shows the face of a child who seems to be staring at the coffin. Some even say that the features have certain similarities to the little boy's face. This video was made known by his relatives. Since it does not correspond to a reflection, there really is something inside the carriage. His relatives assure that apart from the coffin and a few crosses, there was nothing else inside. There was no reason for a face to be there. Could it be the spirit of the minor? Is that possible? Leave it in the comments. Number 2. Selena was one of the most important artists in America in the mid-90s. The American of Mexican origin captivated millions of followers with her voice, transforming her at the time into a celebrity. However, the early success would fade, since in 1995 she was murdered at the hands of Saldivar, president of her fan club and manager of Selena's clothing stores. A tragedy that not only her family would mourn, but also her friends and millions of fans. Cameras from around the world covered her funeral, a moment of great sadness that inadvertently recorded a paranormal phenomena that apparently may be real. As you can see at that time, the camera is focusing on her husband when it captures this. Pay attention. Do you notice that strange pixel movement on his shoulder? The first impression is that it could be a minor detail, an unimportant subtlety, or it could be the brightness of the sun, the shadow of an assistant, or simply an error in the image that could manifest that movement on his shoulder. However, and beyond the possible explanations, the young man seems to have felt that something touched him. In fact, he immediately turns his gaze to see who it was. For many, it was the spirit of the artist that was present. Do you think that's what happened? Leave it in the comments. Number 1. We conclude this video with 2 clips that unfortunately I cannot show them as such, but I can show them to you as images. The first was taken from the funeral of Jasmina Dominic, a Croatian girl who disappeared 19 years ago. Images that caught the attention of many because of a particular photograph that was taken by a reporter. In the image, you can see how a strange figure appears from behind the attendees. A transparent figure that some suggest and assume that it could be the spirit of a young woman attending her own funeral. An image that was widely disseminated at the time, like the one you will see below. We have always said that almost everything paranormal can be edited, except for those images in which animals are involved, especially if they are wild birds. This set of images shows the moment when a bird perches right on the tombstone of a child while his mother was visiting him for his anniversary. That wouldn't be strange at all if it weren't for the bird flying off to then land on the saddened mother's hands. So how many times have you stretched out a finger and had a bird land on it? Birds are one of the most skittish creatures on the planet. That is why the original video of these photographs impressed so many. That day, the woman had prayed for a sign that would indicate that her son was okay. According to the woman, the answer was found on her son's tombstone. It is surprising to see how this bird did not hesitate to rest on her finger and stay close to her for a few minutes. Perhaps it is a coincidence. A coincidence so strange that for me, it is much more reasonable and easier to think that the boy's soul has something to do with this. An image that many have categorized as a miracle. What about you? Do you agree? Leave me your opinions in the comment box, because this video has come to an end. My name is Leonor Clay, and this was The Darkest Secret.